string today. Vintage wood, shiny frets, strumming blues while the sun fades. All these guitars, can't help myself. Why can't I quit this ever-growing need? Oh man, goddamn, bought another 6-string today. Vintage wood, shiny frets, strumming blues while the sun fades. All these guitars, can't help myself. Why can't I quit this ever-growing need? Sneaking inside, just another piece of art, a new love to find. Strings humming with a history, each one with a tale. From the first touch of the strings, my soul sets sail. I see the look in her eyes, another roll of the dice. But in those studio lights, it's worth every price.
Hi there, my name's Aaron Short. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm going to turn on the logo and the info box if we get any new subscribers during the stream. Thank you for joining me. Today is Monday, May the 27th. It is Memorial Day, so I will say we're thinking about that today. It's a serious day, and we appreciate everyone that that fought for freedom, of course. I hope you're enjoying the day. I hope you're doing something good. I hope you've been playing the guitar. Obviously, there's some sales coming through. Nothing major that I've seen. Let me know if you've seen anything, but yeah, just want to hang out, really. It's a holiday for a lot of people. A lot of people at home just want to hang out and say hi and see if anyone's got any questions. I've had quite an eventful week. I'll recap it on the channel. Might be helpful to some out there. And we'll see how we go. Let me know if you've seen any interesting things. The Katana Mark III, Generation 3, they're calling it, did release last week, and it does look very good. I might talk about that. It's a weird one. I don't own one. I'm a fan. I've got no... I'm not trying to help boss out or anything. I just have owned 2 of those in the past. Okay, fair enough. I don't own them anymore. But I have owned 2 in the past that just really impressed me. I really mean that. Not enough for me to not have a Fender FR12 and a Quad Cortex. But if you want an amp for gigs, for practice, backup, just to get started, or even if you're professional and want something to take to certain gigs, I definitely think that's a great thing to check out. I really do mean that. All right. But probably more for electric guitar than acoustic guitar, I should say. All right, so Nick is here. Great to see you, Nick. And Boomer's here. Looking forward to the show. We've got a thumbs up. Give me a real thumbs up if you don't mind. Do give me a thumbs up in the chat. There's an icon there for a thumbs up. There's also a thumbs down that someone likes to press occasionally. I should say every week. And that's fine too. Any interaction you give me is helping the channel. So I appreciate anything you put on the channel. The worst thing for a channel is to have no interaction on it. Michael's here. Great to see you, Michael. Hey, Aaron. Happy Monday. Are you using the Maton at gigs? I'll talk about that. I have been using it. I can talk about that shortly because I want to go into some detail for you. Graham is here. Great to see you, Graham. Graham, are you what's your guitar now? Are you still using that I was going to say Bay Ridge? Are you still using the Toman guitar? Let us know how that's going. The mic is in the picture this week. Yeah, I thought I'd get a bit closer. This is full aura, so I'm right on top of the mic. I was just trying not to show you the logo of the mic, but I guess that doesn't really... I was thinking about that today. Why do we show the logos of stuff in videos and give people free advertising? But the thing is, on YouTube, someone's going to ask us what the product is we're using anyway, so what does it matter? All right. I think I'll leave the mic here and see how it sounds. It's definitely got that... It's gonna be even clearer. So, which pickup do you prefer? PG3 from Cole Clark or Bag Stage Pro Anthem? I'll come back to you. Hi in the Philippines. Good to see you. Alama Guitars. Do you build guitars? Let us know. I'll come back to questions. I just want to say hi first of all. So I'll come back to you. I'll come back to Michael. Kind of related there. Okay. SC, hello from coastal North Carolina. My D18 wants a new pickup. I'm using an NC1 first. No, so NC1 is the Mojo Tone sound hole pickup, which I have tried. It's a pretty good system. Used a K&K for a while. Yep, okay. And so before, I want to plug and play. Plug and play. Well, we'll get to that. So lots of pickup questions today. This is great. I'm going to star these and come back to them when I'm ready. Rosanna's got the spanner, which means she is moderating. So thank you, Rosanna, for keeping those trolls at bay. Appreciate it. As always, Marco says, hello, Aaron. Happy Monday. Rex says, greetings from Phoenix. How you doing, Rex? How's that mixer? You sent me an email with some stuff. I was hoping to hear some recordings of your band. So let us know how that's working out. Lee, good evening, Aaron. We've got guests, won't be able to listen. We'll try and keep an eye on chat. Thank you, thank you. Don't worry, I also have a ban button. They've now added the ban button to my software, so if there's any issues, I could just kick people out, but I appreciate it. I was going to say, Lee and Rosanna, there's some really good content coming from Martin now. Hey, did you see this week they posted a video with Dick Boak talking about the Clapton guitars? If you haven't seen that, it's a really good video, and I hope they do. I think they'll do more. I hope they do one on the John Mayer guitar. I think they probably will. So they're really doing well on their channel now. Oh, this is great. Alma Guitars, can you send me a link to your website? Perhaps I'll pull it up for the viewers on the screen at some point. We do build local sustainable acoustic guitars. Love to know what kind of wood you use. What is the local sustainable wood you're using? And please do post a link to the website. I might show it on the channel later on. All right, great. So I've had a good week. I played my regular gigs. I had some things happen this week. I'm still here, but some things have happened. But I think I want to save it for a video. I have sold a couple of guitars. I did make a video of my Telecaster before I shipped it. I'm editing it right now, so look for that during the week. Basically, what I did was I played the Telecaster to see how I felt about it as a Strat fan. Then I played my American Strat, which I'm selling, and then my Hardtail Strat, which is kind of like a Tele in its design, and spoke about the differences and what I preferred. And at the end of the video, I'll put the audio samples back to back so you can hear tonally what the difference is. I don't know. I thought I should do it before I sold the guitars, so I did it, and that will be posted during the week as a video. I like that stuff too, because when I sell guitars, you should also think about doing this. It's so easy now to record your guitars, right? You can buy, the new iPads are amazing, or you can use your computer, and all you got to do is get an interface, or even your phone. All you got to do is get an interface. If you just plug straight in, even if you use an amp modeler, even if you just use the built-in amp modeler that's on your phone or whatever, on GarageBand on the iPad or whatever, record that guitar and save that file as the name of that guitar and then ship it off. And then the great thing about that is, in the future, when you think to yourself, oh, I really feel like getting another Telecaster, you might listen back and decide, actually, no, I sold the Telecaster for this reason. So that's why I do it. I really wish I started this channel sooner. I wish I'd been recording videos back when I had the hundreds of guitars that I had before I really started making videos, because then surely in the future, I'm going to be thinking to myself, oh, I want to get another one of these. And if I had those recordings, even if they're not on YouTube, obviously you may as well put it on YouTube, but even if you've got the recordings on your computer for yourself, you can listen back and decide, actually, no, I sold that because of this reason. So I would definitely start doing that if you're not doing it already, if you like to buy and sell a lot of gear. All right, Lee said he'll check out that video. Yeah, not now, but later, for sure. Danielle says, still have my first generation Katana 50. Has worked well. Yeah, the changes are pretty small they've done, but it's now got USB-C. You can buy an extra Bluetooth adapter to control it from your phone. That's huge. I love that. Okay, if they're $500, you have to buy the Bluetooth thing. You could just buy a used first generation. Okay, fine. And you can still do that. But if it was me, I would get the new one with the Bluetooth adapter. And the ability to control that from your phone is amazing. So don't underestimate that ability. I think it's worth the extra $100 or $200 for that feature alone. Rex said, I attached one song to the email I sent featuring some baritone sax. Okay, I'll listen again. So that was recorded directly from your new mixer, right? Let me know. Graham says, sadly, it's been collecting dust. Did pick up yesterday for a quick play. just can't get used to the neck. Will eventually remove the PG3 and install it in another guitar. Yeah, I agree. I felt the neck really let that guitar down. It was just too fat. It's more like a classical neck. And I often say I don't like necks that are too thin, but I also don't like necks that are too fat. You know, the neck has to be just right. You know, for me, the Martin Standard Series neck is just right. Maybe they're slightly thin, but it's got to be just right. Now, what you could do, how about this? Have you considered sanding the neck down? You or someone else could sand that neck and change the profile of the neck by sanding it down. Has anyone ever done that? I've considered it with electric guitars. You could do that. You'd have to reshape the neck with some sandpaper and then put some oil on it to seal it. I'm sure a local luthier could do that, and that could be really good. Eddie, what's up? Anyone playing a McIlroy? I never have. Let us know if anyone else has. Alamo Guitar says, unfortunately, we don't have the website at the moment, only YouTube and Facebook. Okay, I'll check it out later. Local Sustainable Woods is Gamelina Top from I never heard of them. I'm saying that completely wrong, but that's interesting. I will check out the videos at some point this week. Rex said, headed to the gym, listening while I work out. Very good. We use mostly coconut shell fingerboard, bridge and row. Interesting. Coconut shell. Wow. All right. I'll definitely look into that later on. Thanks for sharing. Let's come back to the questions. And first of all, if you're new here, please do me a favor and subscribe and ring the bell. It really helps the channel. If you're not subscribed already, do hit the subscribe button and make sure the bell is rung. It tells you when I post a video. And I don't do it often. I know some channels like suddenly drop 20 videos and it fills up your subscriptions feed. I don't like that either. It'll just remind you when I'm live on a Monday and if I do post the occasional video each week. So that's cool. All right. So let's start with some questions. And if you've got any more, you can drop them in the chat. I gotta find the first one. All right, Michael Candy. Are you using the Maiden at gigs? Okay, so here's the full story. Let's go back a few months. I was exclusively using, well, let's go back further. Let's go back a year. I was using my original Cole Clark that I got from Groons, and I had the action set super low, and it was just great. And I was starting to wear through the frets, which means obviously I'm enjoying the guitar. And I decided to sell that guitar and get another one. Now, I kind of regret that. There was a great guitar, great setup. It just felt great, especially plugged in. But then I got the Angel 3, and then I started to get interested in stainless steel frets. And I also at that time got the Maiden with the stainless steel frets. So once the Maiden had been sort of kicked into where it needed to be, it took me a little while. I had a few issues, a few teething issues. And then I had the issue with that D string that I told you about, which I've now resolved. And by the way, it has fully resolved my issue. I even had a guitar recently where the D was flat. I did it again, and it kicked in, and it was fine. That really was the solution. So 2 weeks ago, I covered that issue. I've been gigging that a lot to test out the stainless steel frets. Now, I don't know how I feel about them. They bend super well. I can see why some people might not like the feel because they're so shiny. Bear in mind that regular frets, nickel frets, can be polished to that kind of glassy polished shine as well. And sometimes stainless steel frets are not polished. Sometimes they are tarnished a little bit. They can't. I've tried some that have been. But the frets on this particular guitar feel super glossy. I like it. I wonder if some people might not or might have to get used to it. There's no fret wear at all. They haven't broken any more strings. Some people then say the sound is bright. Well, here's the thing. It is bright on that guitar, but that guitar is using the equivalent of kind of maple woods. So it is a bright guitar anyway. Not in a bad way, I like it. But it's hard for me to really know if I love stainless steel frets when I've only used them on one guitar. Ideally, what I need to do is have a guitar without stainless steel frets and then have it refretted with stainless steel frets. But I don't really want to be the guinea pig that does that. It just seems like such a hassle to me. So I'm still reserving judgment until that time. Although, if I did decide to keep a guitar for gigs and needed a refret, I certainly wouldn't have it refret with nickel frets. At that point, I would have stainless steel frets put on it. So the jury is still out. I need to really play more than one guitar with it. But that's why I've been playing that guitar a lot. Then I started playing the other Maiden as well. So while I was working on the D string issue on that guitar, to still play the Maton and have the same settings on my pedal, I started playing the Nashville Maton. And then I went back to the Cole Clark recently. And I've got thoughts on that, which I can go into if you want me to, about the two pickup systems. But what I will say about the Nashville Maton is it sounds excellent unplugged and excellent plugged, in my opinion. They get a lot of kind of bashing on forums. I think it's totally unfair. I think the newer Matons, and that, especially that Nashville, because the woods obviously affect things a lot. The newer Nashville guitars, I think they sound excellent unplugged and excellent plugged. Where I'd say the Cole Clark sound great unplugged and more than excellent plugged. Right? It's not a million miles away. There's just a subtle difference that the third pickup element gives you. It also makes it better for percussive playing. So yeah, I've got real deep thoughts on that from doing all this experimenting lately. But I won't bore everyone else too much in case they're not interested. Oh, here we go. We got a similar question anyway. Do you prefer the PG3 from Cole Clark Guitars or LR Baggs Stage Pro Anthem? Right, here's the thing. So you're a luthier, right? You're building acoustic guitars. Here's my advice then from everything that I've learned or discovered recently. I wouldn't do the Stage Pro Anthem because you've got to cut a hole in the guitar. And LR Baggs may decide to change. I don't know, but they might decide to change that in the future, right? Or the system might, they might stop making parts for it and you got stuck with that hole in the guitar. My advice is to just ship your guitars with either the full Anthem or the Anthem SL. My favorite is the Anthem SL. So I would do Anthem SL personally and just have a battery bag in the guitar and ship them like that. And then the player can decide later to remove that from the guitar and install something else. Because there's a new system coming from LR Baggs pretty soon. So my advice is, if I was doing it, because I like the Anthem SL and it's cheaper for your company as well, I would do there's many benefits to the Anthem SL. It's cheaper, but also you can install the controls further into the sound hole, and then they can use a feedback buster cover on their guitar, which you can't do with the full Anthem. So that's why I like the SL. So my advice, if I was building guitars right now, I would install the Anthem SL with the battery pouch that's included in the guitar, and then they have the ability to change that if needed. I wouldn't do the Stage Pro Anthem, although I do like the Stage Pro Anthem, and it's in this guitar behind me, but I don't think it's as future-proof as the Anthem SL. Is it as good as the PG3 Cole Clark system? Because you can now buy that separately, but the one you buy separately is going to have the holes again. I think you should stay away from the holes in the guitar just for future-proofing. I'm not against it. I like it, but a lot of customers don't like it. That's really hard. They're both top of their game. They both have a different flavor. Because the Anthem is mostly based around a microphone for the high frequencies, it does have a bit of a sweeter, more natural sound, or mic sound. The PG3 is still two piezos and a mic on the highest frequencies. It still has a bit of that piezo quack. It does. But it also has amazing power and headroom and other features that the Anthem doesn't have. So they're both great. They're both very different. It's like different flavors of ice cream, right? They're all great for different reasons. But they're definitely at the top of their game. So for me, it's like the Anthem SL, the PG3, the Maton AB5 Pro. They really are up there at the top for me, those systems. But for you, I would probably look at going with the Anthem SL and just keeping the holes out of your guitars. All right. Just my opinion. What do I know? But, you asked. All right. Next question. My D18 wants a new pickup. I'm using an NC1 first now. So NC1 is the Mojo Tone soundhole pickup. Pretty good, non-invasive. You can install it, remove it, etc., etc. When I tried it, it had a bit of noise in the apartment because it's a single core system. And I don't like having the sound hole blocked by a pickup personally. So you've used a K&K Pure Western Mini, which is your passive K&K, which is cool. A lot of people love them. They don't really work for me, as I've said before, but a lot of people do like them. You want what you call plug and play. I don't believe there is such a thing as plug and play with pickups, but so The pollen's in my throat. It's terrible right now. It's so humid outside. I played last night with a lot of flowers and they were beautiful, but it really got in my throat. Anyway, excuse me. So plug and play. I don't love that expression, but I know what you mean. And I would probably say, again, the Anthem SL. You just install it. Again, install those controls a bit further back. Keep the volume on maximum. Plug the sound hole when needed if you're getting feedback, and just do some basic EQ shaping on the mixer. That's going to be a great sound. I keep saying it, there's a new system coming from LR Bags. They apparently just showed it at Sweetwater. It's coming in 2 months. It will be twice the price. They said they're very happy with it, but I reserve judgment until I've used it, of course, because who knows what I'll think about it when I've actually used it at a gig. Rex says, yes, from Tascam Model 24. 2 mics, 2 electric guitars, Fender amps, 3 drum mics, direct bass, great. An acoustic guitar. Years ago, I did direct recordings with the QSC Touch Mix, and I loved them because I was able to bring the recorder home and then remix the songs. Even though live you have your reverbs and effects on the tracks, when it records the tracks, it can record them dry. And then when you come home, it still plays them back through those same effects. So you can effectively play around with the levels and change those effect levels at home to practice your mixing. But you can also have the raw files and basically start again, remix the whole thing raw. So there's a lot of fun to be had with a digital mixer. I currently have, and I haven't made a video yet, I really should have done, but I currently have the newer Allen and Heath CQ mixer, and I will eventually talk about it. It's very good. NC2, yeah. So like I said, NC2 doesn't really work for me because it does have that single coil hum, and my single coil guitars in this room they don't behave themselves. If you can play the NC2 and it doesn't make that, if the noise is good for you where you live and where you play, then that's certainly a good option, I'd say. I'm still perplexed by your experience, RE Intonation. Hopefully someone someday can explain it. I can understand how an improperly seated ball end could make a string sound dead. The only theory I have is that if the string is not fully seated, especially the D, maybe the thickness of a D string in a set of 12 gauge strings, maybe the thickness of it just means that it doesn't quite seat correctly unless it's done just right. And the fact that it's not seated quite correctly means that the intonation is off because the string is, it's further back and therefore it's going slightly flat. That's all I can think. I don't know. But I will say this, I'm 100% certain that I'm absolutely right, because I restrung several guitars with my new method, which is so similar to the original method, and it fixed all my issues. My issue has gone away, and it was an issue for so many years, and it's completely gone away. And like I said, the amazing thing the other day, I did a restring, and that D was flat again at the 12th fret. So I took the string off, got another one, and it's not a bad string. It's the way it seats in that slot. I got another one, and I did it again, and it was perfect. It's just, there's something about a D string in certain acoustic guitars of a certain gauge where if that string doesn't sit quite perfectly in that slot, the intonation goes off by about 15 cents. And I've had it on multiple brands. I say mainly the Australian guitars. I think I've seen this more in those guitars than like the Martin, etc. But then again, I've been playing those guitars more as well. So let's try and be scientific about it. But I'm 100%, I would bet my life on the fact that I'm right. It's the way the guitar is restrung can completely throw off the intonation on that D string. I'm 100% sure of it. And I don't want people to worry about it. It's not a problem. If your guitar is fine now, then you're doing it right. There's no problem. I just want to put this out there. If anyone plays acoustic guitar and comes to their guitar one day and realizes the D string is flat, then that's what the problem is. I couldn't find this information. I've found people talk about this on forums. I've seen people say, I've got these new strings and the D string's flat on the 12th fret. I've seen it. There are people that have reported this as well. But we talk about 3 threads of millions. But there are others that have also detected this, and I had it. There's actually a friend of mine filmed me at a gig a few months ago with the Cole Clark, and there's actually a clip. He's got a clip of me playing it, And I was showing him, like, I took a solo and showed him that it was flat at the 12th fret. I do actually have the video evidence of this as well. And the guitars now are all 100% on those D strings. I haven't got any guitars now where they're flat on the D string. It's absolutely amazing to me. Look, this is the kind of minutiae I talk about on this YouTube channel, but I think it's very important that people know about it. The reason for me doing YouTube is to share this kind of information, the stuff that drives me crazy. So I just found another weird issue I had with my pedal that I figured out exactly what's causing it, and it's just great. And then I can tell the company, ideas to fix it in the future. Perhaps tension on the string, excuse me. Perhaps tension on the string changes when plucked, when the ball end isn't properly. Yeah. It's definitely the way that's seated in the guitar. And it's definitely fixed all my issues on 2 guitars at least. Amazing. Which inner monitors do you use? Let's jump over to the desktop and I'll show you. I see there's some new ones were just released by Ultimate Ears. I ran the AC today for 2 hours to make it cold in here, and it's already getting hot after 30 minutes. It's so humid. All right. So these are what I have. The SE535. People will tell you that the cheap ones on Amazon are just as good. Well, I've tried them because I wanted to find out for myself. They certainly are good. Are they as good? Well, the ones I tried that were $50 were brighter, which isn't a bad thing. But I'd say these are more accurate. Some people say these have too many mids. But I think the fact these are not as bright and have the mids make it good for gigs. I don't know, just my opinion. I've been using them very happily. I think they're great. I think they sound like my studio monitors. I think they're more accurate myself. But of course, if you want those extreme highs, maybe the $50 ones from Amazon are the way to go. But these are what I use, and I'm very happy with them. I'm so happy with these. I have 2 pairs of them. I have one here and one in my bag, and I use one as a spare pair. But I'll say this. If you're not sure, if you want to get into in-ear monitors or try them, then get the cheap ones from Amazon. They're about $50, $80, 50. There's some for 50. And use that as a trial and then get these. And then you can use those cheaper ones as your backup pair. That's what I would probably do. Because I appreciate it's a lot of money to spend on in-ear monitors. But I personally would, some people say I shouldn't, but I would mix with these too. But yeah, people have very different ideas about in-ear monitors for sure. Thanks for a great response. What about passive pickup? K&K Pure Mini or Shatton? Yeah. Someone was talking about plug and play earlier. Something like an Anthem SL is just more plug and play. And I think that's what people want. Some people will say, no, I don't want the Anthem in there. I want a passive pickup. Well, then I would offer the K&K. It's a classic pickup. It's affordable. Some people swear by it. So what I would do is I'd offer the guitars with either the K&K Pure Mini passive pickup or the Anthem SL active pickup. Ooh, I have a set of Everse 8. Nice. I love the sound. Sometimes I get a wild electric sound out of one. Wow. Not feedback, only stops when the power is. That's crazy. Are they running the latest firmware? I'd also do a factory reset. And if that keeps happening, I would put in a support request for a new unit, because that's never happened to me. All right. Thanks for the response. SL versus full Anthem, also considering HiFi. All right. Let's take a look at them. I'll tell you my thoughts. So first of all, the full Anthem used to be quieter than the Anthem SL. They've now changed that. So that they're both the same output level, which is good. As you can see, the full Anthem is about $70 or $80 more expensive. So that's the first thing to bear in mind. It does give you a phase switch and a blend control. If you want to use impulse responses with this, then that's useful because you can have just the undersaddle pickup. If you don't care about that stuff, you do get the bigger box, which means it kind of blocks the sound hole and you can't use a feedback buster easily. So for that reason, I think I just said this before, but for that reason, I gravitate towards the SL. It's smaller, it's less stuff in the guitar, it's lighter, it's simpler, it's cheaper. And what I do is I install this, rather than install this here, I put it back here. I put something under it to make it flush, and or like two of the adhesive pads they give you. I use 2, and I install it here and leave it at full volume. And that way, this is completely clear, and no one even knows there's a pickup in the guitar, which I think is awesome. So that's my favorite. And then you've got the Baggs HiFi, which I've reviewed. It's cool. I was excited at the time, but it didn't give me that microphone high fidelity sound that I'm used to. So for that reason, I haven't been using it. It's impressive, but from the start, I felt like it needed a second source, like a microphone. And the good news is we're about to get this new version with a microphone, and I'm definitely going to review it. But will I still prefer the Anthem? I don't know. I really don't know. But this is basically like a new Anthem. And I mean, it's a lot more money, so bear that in mind. It also kind of blocks the sound hole, so you can't completely have your sound hole free. But it's exciting, and I'm excited to try it out. Here we go. You see what I mean? You can't really recess this. You might be able to, but I don't think you can. It's so long. So this is exciting, but who knows? I'm trying not to get sucked into hype anymore because I always get disappointed. So I will definitely try this when they release it. I'll ask them to send me one to try it to demo, and it'll basically be between this or the SL, or just buy yourself a stage guitar is my third option, and get a dedicated stage instrument like a Cole Clark or a Maton. Yeah, well, so my advice to you, SC, is to wait 2 months for this pickup to release and see what I think about it. And if I think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, you should get this. Despite the cost, if I say, look, it's incredible, it's amazing, it's the best pickup I've ever used, then you should get this one. And if I say, well, it's good, but I still like the Anthem, then you should get the Anthem SL. There, that's the very simple answer. Used Martin CEO7 with Anthem. Felt like I got the room okay, not great. Recording was dry. Oh, this is Rex. So I had to add EQ and reverb. Wasn't thrilled with dry sound. I need to simplify my acoustic. So that was the CEO7 with the Anthem. That should sound pretty good. Something that's really important with the Anthem is make sure you set the gain correctly. It can sound bad if you don't. It's got to be installed correctly. It's really important to install it correctly. So there's a few things to bear in mind there. For example, if you install the Anthem under saddle pickup, which is this wire here, if you see the black dot at the end, there's no sound there. Some people have installed that in the saddle slot, and they leave that exposed. Therefore, the high E string is not getting signal. So do make sure on your Anthem that black dot it should be face up when you look at it. And it should be recessed either recessed if you've got a short saddle slot by extending it, by drilling a hole to extend it into the guitar, or like on a Martin, it's fine. The bridges are such a way that it sits absolutely fine and the strings are even. So either use your ear to check that by playing each string separately with the piezo only, or look at it visually. That's very important. Also, make sure the underside of the saddle is completely flat against a straight edge. That's really important. It's got to be completely flat, 100% flat. And when you've done with all that, make sure you adjust this control, which is on both versions of the Anthem, with the yellow stick that comes with the pickup. And make sure that mic is dialed in. Baggs say to sound like the guitar, but also for your ear, you might want a bit more of that. If you get too much, it gets scratchy and horrible and picks up lots of string noise. But you've got to get that dialed in just right where the guitar sounds how you want it to sound. So there's 3 things there that you must check on your system. I've seen many installs where those things are not done correctly and the pickup just sounds average. If those three things are done correctly, the pickup can sound excellent. When gigging, what reverb are you using in the signal chain? I'm not. I did say that I use plugins on Logic from my Apollo Twin that sound amazing, and I do believe that. But when I play live, I don't care that much. I know that's probably not what you're expecting to hear from me. But as I like to use the all-in-one systems, I just use what I have. So the Voice Live 3 that I use, and by the way, these are coming into stock soonish. They are definitely finished. So once they've made them, they will be shipping out again. I don't know how long that will take though, because like Boss are currently experiencing huge backlogs with their gear because of manufacturing. So I'm not quite sure yet when these will be arriving. But I use the reverb that's built into this. And I just used the one that was there. You know, I just edited it a little bit. Yeah, I'm not that fussy. I feel like live, once you're in the room, a big room, and you're playing, that the room has natural reverb anyway, and the reverb is just there to back you up. For me, it's more important in a recording where you're actually listening to the recording with headphones in at home, you know, in a quiet room. But I do, having said that, I do think reverb is very important. I wouldn't be against, if I was touring, I wouldn't be against having a dedicated reverb for my voice and guitar that's of the highest stereo quality. I wouldn't be against that at all. But, and if I did that, I believe that Universal Audio sell like a reverb pedal. So I would probably use that. But for convenience, I just use the one that's built into this. You did say, what do I use live? So I use the one that's built into my pedal for both voice and guitar. Dallas Green, Obsidian Color, just put the NC2 in all these Road Dogs. Seems he likes that sound. Yeah, you know, it's lightweight. It looks good. I think they've done pretty well, and they do make a version which is a humbucker. So they make a version which is single coil. They make a version which is a humbucker. And they make a version which has a mic. But I don't think they make a version which is a humbucker with a mic. That's what I'd be most interested in. I don't know why that is. But yeah, personally, I don't like I try to avoid sound hole pickups. I like that sound hole to be completely empty. I like to use a feedback buster. 1, to help with feedback, and 2, to protect the wood of the guitar, because it kind of adds protection to the sound hole where you strum with the pick. And like I said, when I tried the single coil version, I just got too much noise, because I get too much noise from single coil pickups in the apartment anyway. So I'm not recommending it, but I'm just giving you a warning. Make sure you try it first and are happy with the results based on your location. I'm really not using I hate using single coil pickups in here, because there is noise. You have to face a certain direction for the noise to go away. And I just don't want to deal with that personally. Thanks for the answer of the EVs. Yeah, I've never heard of that issue. You can certainly, when you turn it on with your phone connected, it will tell you if there's a software update. It forces you to install it, which is actually a bad thing. But definitely make sure that's installed. Definitely do a full factory reset by using the menu on the back of the speakers, and then charge them up to 100% and then try again. If it happens again and it's not your equipment, if it doesn't happen with another PA, meaning it's not your equipment, then you need to get those, you need to contact Electro Voice ASAP and get that resolved with some sort of warranty claim, because that's not right. I've never had that issue. But do make sure it's not user error. You know, do make sure that you test another speaker if possible, to make sure it's not, for example, your guitar. Maybe your guitar is making that noise, and that's what the problem is. So that's what I do these days. I try to narrow everything down. So I just had this issue with my looper, like making a weird noise on the cycles. And to narrow it down, I tried a different, it was another pedal, using another pedal with it. So I tried a different pedal to that one, tried to narrow down exactly what the cause is. So I'm absolutely 100% before I then contact the company. It's much more helpful if you can contact them and say, look, I've tried a different speaker and this doesn't happen, but it does happen with your speaker. And then you can be like sure when you ask for a service or replacement, you can be sure about it because you know you're right. Ume, I use the Empress Effects Reverb. It's a really good sounding reverb. Let me take a look. That's why I'm glad there's people here, because I don't know. I couldn't really recommend a reverb pedal as such because I just use the one that's built into my multi-effects pedal. So it's good. I wouldn't go out of my way to try these because I'm happy with the ones I already have. And they're way more convenient for me. So this one here. Yeah, so it looks like a studio reverb basically. Hall plate, spring, room, sparkle. You got all these different reverbs, and then you've got the decay, the mix, the output, the low, high, thing 1 and thing 2, which I presume are like special to each or applicable to each individual reverb, and then you can scroll through presets. That's cool. I think the reverbs in, I mean, even the HX Stomp reverbs are very good. Even the reverbs in the Quad Cortex are good. The spring isn't great in any of those. The spring in that Fender Tone Master Pro is excellent as a spring reverb, but I wouldn't buy it just for that reason. Yeah, no, I get it. There are definitely better and worse reverbs out there, but personally, I just like it. As long as it just fills up the space behind me when I'm live, I'm not really that fussy about the reverb. Maybe I should be more fussy about it. I don't know. I would probably use something like the UA pedals if I was going to build such a board. I'd use something like this. But you see, this only has a spring, a plate, and a hall. That's enough, though. I'd use the spring on an electric guitar, or a Fender guitar. I'd use the plate on my acoustic guitar. And then you've got decay, pre-delay, mix, bass treble, and modulation. I'm not a fan of modulation on reverb. I'd probably turn that off. And there's also app control as well to make some fine-tuned adjustments, I think. So I'd probably get that just because I like the UA effects. But it's one of those things. If I don't use something and get so blown away by it that I feel it's worth replacing the one in my multi-effects, I don't do it. And even then, it would have, whatever I found would have to be so incredible for me to want to replace the multi-effects, because it's just so much more work to carry another pedal and then power it and connect it to the multi-effects, right? So I'd have to be really blown away to do that. And I just don't think the TC reverbs are that bad. The ones in my pedal are basically TC electronic reverbs, which I've used in the past as well, and are very good. Lost my cursor. Hang on. If you've got a reverb you want to recommend, then please do. All right. Dallas Green, Obsidian Color. Just put. Oh no, I missed that one. I don't already. Great thoughts on the follow-up answer to my EVs. Will do. Yeah, let us know if they give you an answer. Does the eVerse 8 have an onboard reverb/EQ? Yes. And it's decent, but it doesn't give you full control. Like they're not, yeah, you can't edit them as much as you can, for example, on this pedal. But they're good. The reverb sound great. The EQ is usable. It's got a full parametric EQ on the output. But look, if you want the absolute best kind of effects and tweakability of them, you want something like a full-on professional digital console, because that will give you the ability to have multiple EQ. Well, basically what Logic has, you know. And someone said the other week about using Logic at gigs. Maybe some people should be doing that, because running a box into your laptop, running Logic with 16 ins and outs on it, and then using Logic to go in there and fine-tune your effects and your EQ, you know, why not? Randy says, great reverb, but they sure are proud of it. Don't know what you mean. Spinning overhead fans in one bar where I give plenty of warble effect. Yeah, you know, I found that years ago. I think I've told this story before. I probably told most stories before at this point. But I had an acoustic guitar when I moved to New York, and I lived in a basement apartment, and it had one of those massive wooden ceiling fans. And I sat there playing one day, and the guitar just sounded like the sound was modulating and warbling. And I contacted a guy I met when I first moved here that repaired guitars, and I said, I just got this Martin guitar, and there's something really weird about it. Like the sound is wavering. Like, do you know what's causing it? Is the guitar? Have I bought a lemon? You know? And he said, first thing he said was, "Is there a ceiling fan?" And I said, "Yeah. Why?" Well, this apartment I lived was pretty terrible. It had no AC at all. I mean, forget like I'm sweating now having no AC for the live stream, but this apartment had no AC at all. It was horrible. But it had a ceiling fan, so I had to run that all the time to keep it cool in there. And what happens is, if you haven't experienced this, maybe some people haven't, when the ceiling fan is on and you're playing an acoustic guitar below it, it actually affects the sound of the guitar in the room. You can hear it like modulating while you play. It's absolutely bizarre. And I just never had a ceiling fan before, so I never had that issue. And that's exactly what it was. So do bear that in mind. And yeah, I hadn't thought about it either, about having the ceiling fan in the bar. Overhead fan in the bar, yeah. And I assume that'll affect the overall sound, right? The entire sound that you're hearing. Yeah, this is the problem when you play in venues where you're just a guest. My biggest problem lately is they don't put you in the ideal spot to perform. They'll put you either where the power is located or where there's just space left to play at all. And that's never that convenient. You're always kind of in the way of people. There's always people walking past you and almost knocking into you, and you can't fully relax and perform. And then things like that too, like what if there's a ceiling fan above you? What if there's noise coming in? All these different factors that can happen when you just show up to play. It's a good reason why it's a good reason to have a battery powered amp, because you can then go anywhere in the bar. But what I find also, the problem with bars is, especially like for parties and weddings, you are not the main focus, of course you're not. So the first thing they think about is tables, seats, food, guests, coat rack, all these different things. And then you walk in and you set up where the space is left, which is rarely in an optimal position. So these are things to think about when you're doing live gigs for sure. But yeah, if you ever, that's a really good thing to remember. If you ever have a ceiling fan above you and you think the guitar or the sounds is weird, it's because of the ceiling fan is modulating your sound. The window fan was my first vocal effect. Yeah, there we go. I guess it is. Yeah, I'm lucky I didn't take that to have it repaired. It's a bit like with the D string, you know. I really wanted to figure that out, which is why I shipped it to Sweetwater. And because they restrung it and said it's fine, and that's when the light bulb went off, and I thought maybe it's me, and it was. I'll check out the Anthem gain setting. Thanks for tips on using iPhone, iPad at gig. I use an old iPad mini with Songbook Pro for new songs instead of just set lists with notes or a music stand. Yeah, I always use my phone. iPad's better because it's bigger, I guess. Having said that, you don't want to block your view from the audience, so it's all a trade-off. That's why I like the phone. It's a bit smaller, and I've always got it with me. I never forget it. And yeah, do mess around with the gain setting on the Anthem with that yellow stick they give you. Do try and adjust it and see if you can improve the sound of it. But before you do that, make a note of where it's set to now. Like when you put it inside, find out where it is positioned now, so you can put it back to where it was if you don't like the results. How is the intonation of your mate, and do you still think the pulling the string trick worked? Yeah, I just said that. I actually said I bet my life on that theory. I'm so 100% certain that is what's going on, and I can't believe no one has ever mentioned this before. So I definitely have to make a video about it. And I still have the video. Can I show it to you now? I don't think I can, but I have the video where I recorded the Maton before I shipped it to Sweetwater, and you see the intonation is off by 15 cents. You can see it on the screen. It's right there on the screen. And I have the video of a live gig with a different guitar where my friend filmed me and I'm playing the D note at the 12th fret to show that it's flat. I have 2 pieces of evidence to show my theory, and I have those 2 guitars here with the D string perfectly in tune. So I have the proof and the evidence to show. I have no doubt in my mind that you have to restring just right when you restring a guitar. But having said that, of course, you have to remember, I keep telling everyone to get one of these strobe tuners. You have to get a strobe tuner or a good app on your phone, a good one, right? And you have to check it. If your guitar is fine, then you don't even listen to ignore what I'm saying. If your guitar's fine, there's no issue. It's just some guitars, it seems very important to seat the D string exactly right, or it will throw off the intonation. That's all. So if you get a strobe tuner, a good tuner, and you check your intonation at the 12th fret and you're in tune all the way up the neck, do not bother with what I'm saying. It's fine. But if your D string is flat, that's the solution. I just seems like such a silly little thing, but it was driving me crazy for so long. I have to shout out about it. I have to tell people about it. So do you still think that pulling the string? Yes. It's not pulling the string. I was doing that anyway. It's simply putting the string a bit further in and making sure you've got clearance so you can really lock. I don't know. I sound so stupid when I say it, but it's fixed all my problems. So what can I say? I'm so happy about it. I was so convinced that I had terrible guitars for so long, and this fixed my problem. I've tried it twice, not sure if it works. Like I said, what you need to do, you either need to go and buy one of these clip-on strobe tuners. The Peterson are the best, in my opinion. Okay, everyone should have one of these. When you set intonation on electric guitar, when you're practicing guitar, this is a great tuner. Peterson Strobo Clip, right? If you don't want to buy that, then go ahead and get the app. There's a Peterson app. There's also a great app that I love to use called Tuner T1 Pro. Tuner T1 Pro. I don't know who makes it, but look, it's really cool. And you can set it to be more or less accurate in the settings. And I've got mine set to, I'll tell you because someone's going to ask me, 5 cents. The width of that in-tune bar can be 15, 10, or 5. Mine's set to 5, which is the most accurate. So this is a great tuner. If you want a tuner on your phone, get this tuner. Tuner T1 Pro. You have to pay for it. It's totally worth it. So get that. Or if you want to go a bit further, or get both. But if you want to, get the clip-on tuner, which is always great. You know, you've always got to... I'd have both. I'd have both. Check the guitar. Please do let me know if you've got an acoustic guitar where the D string is flat on these tuners. Please do let me know, because I'm interested. It can't just be me. I've had too many guitars that have had this. It doesn't seem to be an issue on the Martins for some reason. I'm not going to say it's because they're better. It's just simply probably the way the bridge is constructed. I don't know. I don't believe it's a design fault as such. I just think it's the way some bridges take some strings. I really do. So please do let me know if you check your tuning on your acoustic at the 12th fret by playing the note fretted at the 12th fret. If it says it's flat, but the open string is in tune, please do let me know. I'd be really interested to know. And if you try my technique of restringing that, which is so similar to the old technique, but if you do try it and it fixes it, please do let me know as well. The intonation on the Maton is still 100% perfect. It's 100% perfect on both Matons, where it was off on the JR. It's perfect on the Angel 3, where it was off for months. And I can't think about any other guitars, but it's fixed at least those 3 guitars, which is crazy. What nightmare gig story could you share with us? Well, I wish I knew how many gigs I'd done. I must have done thousands, right? I mean, I've done, in the last 14 years, well, I guess the pandemic messed this up, but in the last 14 years minus the pandemic, I've done between 4 and 7 gigs a week. So you can calculate how many gigs that is. And then before that, I did 2 to 4 a week for 10 years. So I could probably figure it out, but I've done so many and so many different things. Nightmare, I don't know. I haven't. I'll just say this: my memory is not very good. I tend to remember the last gig that I played, so I can't remember all those gigs that I've done. I actually played. I played the other week, and a couple came, and they said it was their anniversary, and I played at their wedding 10 years before. And for a few minutes, I couldn't remember who they were. I recognized them at the bar, and I felt terrible. I just couldn't remember them. I've done that many gigs. That's the problem. I've done so many gigs for so many people, and my memory's not that great anyway. So over time, talking at the bar and stuff and reminiscing, it did come back. You know, a little, not the whole thing, but mostly came back. But I'm trying to think. I did one years and years ago where I had a cold. I used to get these colds where I'd be fine to sing, but then I would sing and the cold would kind of work its way into my throat, and I'd find that it would get on my vocal cords. And then once it got on my vocal cords, my voice would just cut out completely. In fact, I could barely even talk. Like no sound would come out. I used to get those when I was younger. I remember I did that and I couldn't sing. So we just left the PA there and they played their own music. That was embarrassing. I did one where the other player in the duo brought a case and there was no guitar in the case. But I play guitar as well, so I just played and sang while he went and got his guitar. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there are some, but nothing crazy. I was watching some people on YouTube a while ago, and they were saying some really crazy stuff. I've never had anything like that, which I guess is a good thing. I used to do things years ago, like in England, you'd have the sound meter on the wall, and if it stayed in the red long enough, it would shut the power off to the stage. That's horrible when something like that happens. That's just embarrassing. And I believe they still have them in England now. They have this sound meter on the wall. And the problem with those is they're not accurate. There's certain frequencies on a bass guitar that can trigger those long enough to cut off the power, even at low volumes. So they're just not efficient ways of doing it. But I would say that's a nightmare. You know, you're rocking out in the band and you're worried the whole time the sound's going to cut out or the power's going to shut off. It's also dangerous for your equipment. You shouldn't just turn the power off at the wall to your tube amp. You know, it's not good. So I'm glad I'm not doing that anymore. These days, though, the solution I've found lately for many venues in America that I play at now is that they just have you go direct into the house system, and then they have control over the level of the sound. So that's the way they handle it now. And I think some gigs now are just too quiet. They just have the level too quiet. I think everything's getting too controlled now. It's not good. For setup using the iPhone, I like the Airyware tuner. I'm surprised but liked it better than using my Peterson Strobo Plus HD. Just did some saddle adjustments with the Tele style 6-saddle bridge. Yeah, for electric, I'd rather use a Peterson tuner that I plug directly into, so you get the best. So the sound's going directly into the strobe tuner. If I was doing electric guitar, I would do that for sure. For an acoustic guitar without a pickup system, I would use the clip-on Peterson tuner, and then these phone ones are great. The Peterson iPhone app is great, and so is the T1 Pro that I showed you just now. I'm sure the others are great too, but I just want something that I know is super accurate when I do the intonation. You can also use your ear. You can just play the string open and then play the fretted note at the 12th fret. It was so bad on my guitars before that I could hear it. Have you ever considered moving cities to explore a new scene? Yeah, but as I get older, I want to do it less and less. It was such a big thing to move from London to New York City with just a guitar and a suitcase, and no, I had a few contacts, but I really did. I gave up. I gave up a full-time music teaching position. I was in line to become the head of music performance in London, West London college. I was doing a wedding a week. I was playing for agencies. I was doing bars. I had 3 or 4 gigs a week. I had a apartment. Everything was very, very, going very, very well. A lot of my musician friends in London couldn't believe I was giving that up to move to another country, because it's hard to get established as a musician, and especially with something like that, with a place that's paying a pension and all that stuff. But I just felt like it's what I wanted to do at that age, and to then be lucky enough to get established in New York City, I still think there's, I won't say luck. I worked hard to get the contacts and to get the gigs, and I've worked hard to get good at what I do in order to do that. But it would be pretty brave, I think, to do it yet again. Although I do think in your life there are those times when you feel like, you need to make a change and do something different. But again, I talked about the pandemic earlier. I think that's the same with that. I think that disrupted things so much for a lot of people. I mean, I stopped playing completely for 2 years. It kind of gave me the break that I was kind of asked. It's funny. It's not funny, but at the time I would say to people before that happened, it'd be nice just to have 3 months off to do something different. Well, I got that given to me. We all did, right? Had 2 years of no gigs. And that's what led me to do more YouTube stuff. And I still think YouTube is incredible. I mean, look, this is amazing. I'm sitting here talking to you over the computer. I can play a song. I can teach. I can do all these things. Yes, it's oversaturated, but it's also, of course it is. It's a great thing for musicians to do on the side, or even as a full-time career now. So maybe, but no plans to at the moment. Things are going well at the moment. I'm getting weddings. I've got gigs. So I'm pleased. And of course, I've seen other YouTubers move house recently. And then you've got to get a new room for your studio. You got to treat the walls. You got to get a new desk. You got to blah blah blah. You got to move all your stuff to the new place. It's a lot of work. I'm not a fan of moving. I've always dreaded moving places. The intonation of my D string and my FERC is around 5 cents flat. The way I try to improve it is using high tension strings. I think it'll fix it. I really do. I really think my technique will fix your problem, because it's something about that D string not intonating correctly when you don't get it quite right, seated quite right. I've even gone as far as ordering 10 extra D strings from D'Addario, because I do like the excess strings on the Cole Clark and the Maitons. And because last week I put a D string on and it didn't intonate correctly, and I did it again with a fresh string and it did intonate, because obviously it's seated just right, I realized that I'm going to be going through some extra D strings in the future. So I even ordered some additional, on their website you can order just single strings. So I've ordered about 10, I think 10 D strings. So if I'm restringing one day and I check at the end and that string is flat, I'll just pull it off and put the string again and do it, and chances are it'll be fine. That's how much I believe. I wish I knew exactly what's going on, because maybe this could be fixed and never be an issue ever again, which is obviously the ideal situation. But I know I shouldn't have the problem again. If I do, I know if I just try one more time, it's likely going to fix it. At least that's been my experience the last 2 weeks from restringing guitars. Boomer, thanks for joining. We'll see you next time. What are the challenges and rewards of gigging in New York? It's really changed over the last 14 years, I feel. There were more venues 14 years. Maybe you'll agree with me all over America and all over the world about this statement. I don't know. But there were more venues. People were more into live music. I hate to say it, but I think from being trapped at home and with the advent of karaoke, comedy nights, painting nights, all these different options now, I think people are less into live music. I don't know if I believe that or not, but I feel like that is the case, maybe. I also think that comes down to how good you are as well and how hard you try. But I definitely think there was something about 15 years ago about like late night, rocking out, loud music. I think it's gone away a little bit from what I've seen. So I don't know. Challenges, a bit like YouTube, oversaturation. Everyone's out there asking for gigs. One challenge you get in a place like a city is that people who have, I mean, I don't know if I should say this or not. I'll just say it. Obviously, there's people that have full-time jobs that make a lot of money in a city that want to play, and they're willing to play for free. So I've been in venues where people have walked in and said, hey, I want to play. I'll play for free. And okay, maybe they're not professional. Maybe they're not very good. Maybe they are very good. Maybe they work on Wall Street and they're very good. And maybe they were professional touring musicians who went to Wall Street. And I've also been at gigs where I've been playing downstairs to the regular bar crowd, and upstairs, some people from Wall Street have come to play, I believe, for free. I'm not completely sure about that. But they've also brought like 100 colleagues, and they've got money and they're buying a lot of stuff. And it's very hard for professional musicians to compete with that. I'm not crying about it. I'm not complaining about it. It's just the reality of the world. I've seen a lot of people start these groups now for solo musicians, and I think it's good to see what other people do. But the reality is you can't compare yourself to anybody else. Like your abilities, your voice, your playing, your experience, the songs you do, well, maybe not the songs you do, because we can all do the same songs, but there's not a standard. In England, there used to be a musicians union. There is one here, but they tried to set like rates for performances. You can't do that. Everyone's fee is different based on their technical ability, their personality, how many friends they have, if their family come. There's so many factors that come into it at the end of the day. Yeah, I've seen people ask, like, what do you charge? I mean, well, obviously someone in Ohio is not going to charge what someone lives in Manhattan is going to charge. But these are the realities of being a freelancer and being a self-employed person, right? You've got to be on the ball. You've got to be good at everything. You've got to be good at sound engineering, performance, singing, writing, technology, promotion. You've got to be good at everything now. It's just the way it is. I've kind of gone off on a tangent and forgot what I was even talking about now, but yeah, that's certainly some of the things. But there's definitely, when one door closes, another door opens. I saw a guitarist the other week playing for a yoga class. So where some of the downtown bars that were open till 4 a.m. may have shut down, that used to have 3 bands a night, there's now things like yoga class that want an acoustic guitarist because it's a cool kind of vibe, right? So that's a new opportunity that may not have been there 20 years ago, for example. So you've got to be very good at adapting and finding those new opportunities and adapting with the industry. Slotted pins. I actually did, one of the videos said to file down the pin to make it the string go in better. I did do that on one guitar, but I haven't experimented enough yet to know if that's the fix or not, because I didn't do it on another guitar and that guitar was fine. So I'm not sure. But it could be something to do with that, or that it could certainly help to put more of an angle on the pin where the string glides through more. So I'll definitely do that on the guitar I end up gigging with the rest of this year. I'm definitely going to do that to it to see. Because it was a bit frustrating this week when I restrung and the D was flat, even though I did the new technique, and I had to restring it again with the new technique, and then it was fine. It'd be nice to find a fail-safe way where it's perfect every time. But just slotting the picture, I don't know if you I'm talking about putting more of an angle on the base of the pin. I did do that, and it didn't fix the problem. So just that by itself isn't enough of a fix. Did you ever make the trip downtown to see the Martin plaque on Hudson Street? Yeah, I went when Lee and Rosanna visited New York. We went down there. We went there, and then we went to Rudy's Music. It's on the video. I posted the video of us at Rudy's, and before we go to Rudy's, we're at the plaque. So check that out on the channel. It's something like shopping for guitars in New York City or something like that. With my SCGCOM, I find the ball ends definitely sit well under the bridge plate, to the point I have had bridge pins fall out and the ball end stays in place. Yeah, I mean, my bridge pins will still come. Don't overthink this. When I'm restringing, even with my new technique, the bridge pin will still come loose, but I just push it back in. It's still fine. I don't know. I don't know what this is. All I know is I fixed the problem, and it's not like I had the problem once and I'm saying I fixed it because I did something slightly differently, and it was a fluke. I'm talking about an issue that was ongoing for months. If you go back on my live streams to last year, I was complaining about the Dario XS strings being flat on the D string. I was complaining that they're great strings, but that my strings were defective. It turns out the strings were not defective. It's the way that ball was sitting in that slot. That's it. So this has been going on for a long time, a long time. I just don't want people to overthink this. And also, here's the reality of the situation. If you play open chords and you don't play past the 7th fret, which is absolutely fine. If you play a lot of rhythm guitar, it's not even a problem. You don't even really need to think about it. This was a problem for me, and I noticed it the most because I started doing a lot of looping. These days I loop every song, and I solo on almost every song, and all those songs in D where I'd hit the D string up on the 12th fret, it was going out, and that was really bugging my ear. My ears have also got better. Lately I've been recording every show. I've been listening back to every show at night when I get home, and I've definitely improved my pitch a lot. Like my pitch was pretty... My friends and colleagues would say my pitch was excellent to me. I don't think so. If you watch my live streams, I don't think my pitch was that great. And from listening back, and two things, from practicing more lead guitar with a strobe tuner and getting my bends more in tune on that, and then listening back to gigs and really thinking, look, is this in tune? Is something bugging me? I've really tweaked my pitch. From tweaking your pitch and getting much better relative pitch, when you then solo on a guitar which is flat on the 12th fret, you really hear it. It bothers the crap out of you. And so all these things came together. And then all I could think was that acoustic guitars just have a problem with this D string, and it's just a problem with these companies. But as it turns out, no, it's this thing. I do love this topic. I worry that my channel is way too niche, and it's never going to become a huge channel because it's so niche. But what I like is when I find these real world problems that I can actually solve. Sometimes you can't solve them. Sometimes it's just the way a guitar is. But I knew this couldn't be right. I knew there was something with this. And I just hope that there's people out there that have got the same issue where they can now fix their problem. So that's why I love these kind of things to talk about. Because it's a real thing that can really actually make certain playing styles more pleasurable. Like, obviously, like I said, some people are not playing past the 7th fret. They don't really, it's still affecting them a little bit, but not like someone that's playing lead up at the 12th fret. That's really affecting the sound again. One guitar I'd say this hasn't fixed intonation issues on is a shorter scale guitar, like a mini guitar. So I've still got a 3/4 size guitar. That intonation isn't great. It's good, but it's not as good as on the full size. A full-size acoustic guitar, definitely out of the box, just the nature of the beast just makes it to have better intonation than a smaller body guitar. So if you've got a travel guitar, you're probably always going to have slight issues unless you get a real professional in there to fix it up. But if you've got a regular OM or triple O guitar, regular size, full-size acoustic guitar, there's no reason why you should have issues. Okay, you might have a few cents off on the low E or something like that, but you should never have -15 on the D string. That's too much. So, yeah, most of the guitars that I've got now that are or all the guitars I've got now that have been plecked at the factory are perfect as long as I install the strings in that way. I think it's important from a maintenance point of view. Improperly seated ball ends also chew up the edge of the... Yeah, if you look inside the guitar where the bridge plate is, the strings can actually chew... They do. It's wood, isn't it? So they do actually wear that away over time anyway. So it's important. But who knows? I don't know. Maybe my new system is doing that more so. I don't know. I really don't know what it is. But I do know that it's fixed the problem 100%. And I'm really happy about it. If you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about, go back 2 live streams ago. Not last week, but the week before. And I talk about it in detail, the differences that I'm doing. Because I haven't actually made a full video about it yet. I took my Ferk to a luthier. He mentioned that the position of the bridge saddle was too far compared to a tailor. So that's what luthiers and techs will tell you when you tell them that you've got a problem with your intonation. They'll say, "Oh, you'd have to move the bridge and blah." No, it's not. That is true. That's true with certain intonation issues. Let's say all the intonation's off on every string by 3 cents. Yeah, that means that you've got to either adjust the saddle or move the whole bridge to compensate. That's true. But if we're talking about a D string only, then that's most likely the way the string is seated in the guitar. And are you the same person? Yeah. So look, if you're telling me the D string only is flat by 5 cents, which is quite a lot, I'd say, it's starting to get quite a lot. If it's only that string, then I don't agree with the luthier. I believe that you simply are not putting the D string in correctly, because that's what I was doing wrong. So you need to try my system. Go back 2 live streams ago, listen to how I restring the guitar now, try it, and then let me know if it fixes it. I think it will. It sounds like the exact problem that I had, except mine was 15 cents out and yours is only 5 cents out. Are you going to make a video? Yeah, I am. I'm going to try to restring the old way. So I've got that 15 cents flat, and I'm going to try to do it on the kitchen table. I'm going to show you on there by sound and sight that it's flat. And then I'm going to restring it and explain what I'm doing differently and show you that it's perfectly in tune. I think it'll be a really important video. And then while I do it, I'd like to show you everything else that I do with restringing as well and why I do it. But I just gotta, yeah. Look, the live streams, this is where you get the real information from. So thanks for joining in. Thanks for watching. This is where you get all the hot off the press stuff. The videos, I have to make time, clear the room, set the camera up. It's a lot of work, you know. I do want to do it, but at the end of the day, if you're good enough to watch a live stream, you get all this inside information. So why, you know, I'm not in a rush to make the video. But it's interesting to hear that you've got the same problem. You see, it's not just me. There are plenty of guitars out there that are having this issue that have not been, because they've not been restrung quite right. And other videos will show you that technique. It's not that I haven't discovered anything. I'm doing what other videos show you, but they don't tell you why it's important or what will happen if you don't do it. They don't tell you if you don't do it just right, you'll be flat by 15 cents. So I now have the knowledge to be able to say that, hey, if you don't do this technique, you might be flat, but you might not, but you might be flat on your intonation. Even if you do this technique, if you don't get it just right, you might be flat. Let's check it at the end of the restring and see. I think it's also important to show how I check the intonation exactly, so the viewer can also check their intonation. Because like I said, if there's no problem, if it's all intonated fine at the 12th fret, you don't even need to worry about it. It's a non-issue. But if it does fix, if there is a problem, then that is most likely the solution. And I've never heard anyone else say it apart from me. So there we go. All right, I'm going to wrap things up and put the AC back on. So thanks for joining me. It's Aaron Short Music. If you're new here, please subscribe and ring the bell. In fact, let's do the fancy one here. Here we go. Make sure you like by clicking the thumbs up there. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Make sure it says subscribe and press on the bell and select all notifications. I don't post too many videos. It won't bother you. Don't worry. And if you want to at the end, you can share it as well on your social media. That would make me very happy. And thanks for watching today. It's been great as always. Should have some news next week on the... Well, hopefully have some news very soon on the re-release of the Voice Live 3 Extreme pedal, which I'm really happy about. And that's probably going to be a lot of my content for the rest of the year. Well, we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I want to speak to TC Electronic about that first, but we'll see. Why do you only string one string incorrectly? It doesn't make sense. Well, it makes no sense to me either, but it's been a problem. I think all I can think is it's something about the thickness of a D string and the way that it goes into the pin slot. There's something about it. It doesn't catch quite right because of the size of that string. It may even just be the strings that I use. I use the Dario XS12s. It may just be the fact that that particular size string doesn't quite, I don't know, it's such a small thing that I'm doing differently, but it's fixing the issue 100%. 100% fix. And that's why I'm so passionate about such a seemingly boring subject. It was such a big issue for so long. It was really driving me crazy. It made me just want to not buy an acoustic guitar ever again, which is not a bad thing, actually. But I'm so glad that now I'm not going to have that issue, because it was horrible. Especially you play something like Harvest Moon and you're playing up the neck with the open D string. That just sounded horrible. Ugh, it ruined the song. Back to Back Country, good to see you. How you doing? I was just wrapping up, but you can go back and watch the replay. So once again, if you're new here, subscribe, ring the bell, tune in next week. I'm excited this year. We've got the re-release of the Voice Live 3 Extreme. We've got a new pickup from LR Bags in a couple of months. And I believe there's a few other things coming as well. But I don't know what they are. But there are some other releases coming soon too. And I'm hoping I can do more coverage on the Voice Live 3 Extreme, which could also bleed into maybe EQ reverb for live, looping for live artists. We'll see. I might take things that route. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, subscribe, ring the bell. Thanks for your time. Check your guitar's intonation. Let me know if yours is fine or not next week. And take care and be well. And once again, if you want to know what I'm talking about in detail, go back 2 weeks on the streams and you'll watch that video again. And you'll see where I talk about exactly how I now put the strings on to fix that problem. I'll order a Voice Live 3 when you give the release a thumbs up. Yep, I'm going to check the new unit for any issues. And if it's perfect, I'll give you the thumbs up. They should be out in a month or two. And please do me a favor. If you're going to order a Voice Live 3 Extreme, click on my affiliate link and then order it from Sweetwater. Because Sweetwater is the only place that's going to have them in America. They're the only dealer now for TC stuff. So you're going to have to order it from them anyway. It's very unlikely they'll give discounts because they've been out of stock for so long. They're going to blow through. I know so many people have ordered them already. They're going to just blow through all the stock that they have. So please do use my affiliate link if you're going to order a Voice Live 3 Extreme and help me out. I appreciate it. All right. Cheers, Graham. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining me. Have a great week. And I'll see you here next week. And yeah, have a good one. Thanks for joining me. Good night.
Six-string today, vintage wood, shiny frets, strumming blues while the sun fades. All these guitars, can't help myself. Why can't I quit this ever-growing need? Oh man, goddamn, bought another six-string today, vintage wood, shiny frets, strumming blues while the sun fades. All these guitars, can't help myself. Why can't I quit this ever-growing need? Sneaking inside, just another piece of art, a new love to find. Strings humming with a history, each one with a tale. From the first touch of the strings, my soul sets sail. I see the look in her eyes, another roll of the dice. But in those studio lights, it's worth every price. I tell her it's the last one, just another fling, but the music calls my name with every shiny string. Oh man, goddamn, bought another six-string today, vintage wood, Shiny frets, strumming blues while the sun fades. All these guitars, can't help myself. Why can't I quit this ever-growing need? Oh man, goddamn, bought another 6-string today.